Hello and welcome to tutorial 201, and this tutorial is a bit of a first because it's actually a program that was sent to me by a Gold Pass member that he had written. I've made a few changes, but I think it actually contains a lot of useful information. So what does the program do? Well, first of all, if you have a drawing tool, go to trendline and you can draw a trend line, let's just say from here to here. And what it does, it provides various pieces of information such as the price difference, the number of points, and the ATR before the line was drawn. And one can add multiple lines. One could draw from right to left, in which case the ATRX is set to 0. And what we can also do is do a Control R, which will remove everything from the chart, but then within a few seconds you'll see the information is reproduced. So I think there's lots of good lessons in the code. Let me just show you the inputs to start with. So edit studies, you have the choice in terms of the show value of just showing the points, just showing the dollar value, just showing the ATR, just showing the number of bars, or you can show all. I've got all set here as 5. And then we've got some information relating to the ATR and the font size. So let's have a look at the program. Got that open. Incidentally, I will make this available at 0 cost to anybody who is interested. So first of all, look at the once statement. We've got this running once last bar on chart. We're doing a few things. We're calculating the number of decimal places that we need. Then we're setting up the charting host and some click events. So we've got a click event when we click the chart. That actually is when the mouse button is released. Mouse up event. We've got a charting host pre-delete. That's when we're going to delete one of the lines, because if we go here and let me just change the drawing to arrow pointer, I'm going to click on the line, and you see if we move the line, you'll see the text moves. Also, if I delete the line, the text moves, or the text is deleted as well. And incidentally, if these lines are changed, so for example I could actually move that down, what we'll see is the text moves and it is updated. So that is setting up the click events. Then what we do, because there may already be trend lines on the chart that we've previously drawn, and this also happens when the MaxBarsBack is adjusted. If you have it set to auto MaxBarsBack, then if we draw something older, then it will behind the scenes reload. So we need to do this. What we do, we store all the trend lines in a vector called list, getting the information from drawing object items, and it looks very complicated, but the input there is object category.trendline created by drawing object. What we can also do, actually, if you right click on that and have a look at the definition and look at the object category, you'll see that you can also use just a number. So what we're doing effectively is just using number 2. If we load all those into the list, then we go through them and we say if there is a text label, then we delete the existing text label, and we also set the tag to null. Now what we're going to be doing when we create text labels is storing those in the tag property of the trend line. Having got rid of all the text labels, what we then do is go through the list of trend lines again, and we call this method here. We also recreate the click event for the specific trend line. So this is the trend line. We recreate the click event. So let's have a look at the calc dollars. Now this is where most of the processing occurs in this program. So I'll just try and quickly go through it. So the input is the trend line that we're going to be processing. We set the color of the trend line to green, whatever it was before, and then we store the start and end points into start point and end point. And we calculate the difference in price by using the property, the price property of the start point to the price property of the end point. We get that value. And then we need to work out the ATR. So we're doing that, as I say, before the actual line, and that is using for statement using these values x and x to ATR minus 1. So the x and the y, or rather the x is incremented by 1 every time we go through this while loop, and you probably just have to study that to get an understanding of how the ATR is calculated. And that is, again, just before the range that we're highlighting. We then calculate the number of bars. So again, it's a while statement. You might just want to look at that, but what we're doing is going from the current bar, because X is starting as 0, until we get within the range of the specific line. And when we're within that range, we increment the X value, and that becomes the number of bars in the trend line. And that depends on whether we're starting from left to right or right to left. Then we store the value of the dollar move, the point move, and the ATR move. We put the values into a string depending on what our show value is. Then in the case of the tag is not null, we can set the move info equals tline.tag as text label. We can set the string for the text label. This is the thing we've just created up here, and we can set the start point and the end point. Then we can change the vertical or horizontal style depending on whether the start point is before the end point or otherwise. If, however, there is not a text label stored, then we create a text label and we put that into move info. We change the font, the color, make it persist true, and again a similar calculation as above for the V style and H style. And then we set the T line, the trend line tag, to be equal to this text label, and we add the text label to the chart. So that happens each time we run this calc dollars method. And that method is run in a few different places. We just go from the top of the program down. So when the chart is, when it's an up click, and if the element is the trend line, and we then call the calc dollars for that trend line. That's one way, up click on the chart. Another way is pre-delete. I just showed you the deletion of a trend line. And again, if it is a trend line, then we delete the value of the text label, because obviously we're deleting it. We're deleting the trend line using the drawing objects, but we also need to delete the text label. We also, if you remember, at the when we created when the text label was drawn, we set up this thing, the trendline.click, this click event. So we have an event here that occurs when the trend line is clicked, and again we run the calc dollars method. And, incidentally, when it is clicked, we store into the value TL clicked the sender as type trend line. So that is the specific trend line that we're clicking at the moment. And then finally, we've got this this method when the drawing object is added. If you remember back in the one statement, we have this event set up, drawing objects.added plus equals drawing object added, and this is the method that relates to that. And what we do is say if drawing object added is a trend line, then we print trend line added. We say list is all the trend lines on the chart, and then we look at the very last element of that list and we store it into TL clicked. That's the name of the trend line. We add a click event to that trend line, and we set the value of the tag to be nothing. And so if we go to the chart, and it's going to clear the print, going to draw a trend line again using the drawing tools, the trend line drawing tool, like so. So you'll see in the print statement, it's already saying trend line added. So that little method that we already looked at has been done. Then I release my mouse button and put it where we need to put it. That invokes the chart element click, and that will then go through and do the processing of the values. Anyway, as I say, I'm going to make this thing available at no cost at Markplex, so hopefully you will find it useful. And thank you again to the Gold Pass member who wrote this and sent it to me. If you are not on the YouTube channel for Markplex, then please join. Also, please join the Markplex email list. Thank you very much.